Hey guys, Later Magic here, and oh boy, Christmas came early and Elon got me exactly what I wanted, which is somebody else to own Hasbro. One, they seriously pissed him off. At a personal level, I have personally never seen him this angry. Two, he's got the money to do it now after recovering from the Twitter debacle. And three, he just announced that he's looking into starting a gaming company that will operate in a new, more efficient way. Well, what do you need? IPs. So let's just jump into what all started this. So we got Corpse Kings, whoever that is, on Twitter. Got 500,000 views as of November 17th, which is before this went viral, so apparently big following. He says the guy who co-created that. Oh, by the way, that's the Futurama depiction of Gary Gygax, creator of D&D. This guy co-created one of the most important games of all time, but you hardly ever hear about it from the current IP holders. I wonder why that is. Based. About 4 days later, Grums takes his post and then a couple examples, I guess, to explain what's going on to anybody who's following this. He says D&D creators, Gygax and others, are erased and slandered at the same time. Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro just released the New Player's Handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide, as well as the 40th anniversary making of D&D book, whose foreword slams the original creators and attempts to distance themselves. So they had to put a disclaimer, a little trigger warning out there for hey, we don't stand by this and it's totally all racist and sexist, but they go way further than that. Wait till you see what I read that's outlined in here. But he says, I spoke with one of the original creators, Rob Coons, about the problem, and okay, whatever, cool. Elon responded to this exact tweet, nobody, and I mean nobody, gets to trash Gary Gygax and the geniuses who created Dungeons & Dragons. What the fuck is wrong with Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast? May they burn in hell. I'm not even on Twitter. I don't follow Elon Musk. I don't even really like him that much. I like his actions, but I don't like him as a person. I think he's a liar. I don't trust him. His products are pretty garbage, and all he's really good at, his number one best skill is getting investors to give him money. But at the same time, he can see right through the left's BS and constantly checks him on it and then actually takes action instead of just complaining. So cool, he's very chaotic neutral. That's for sure. But his Cybertruck is a defective piece of crap, so, just saying. There's a middle ground, and I think I'm the only one in it, but what pissed him off so much? Let's see what was in this foreword to the book. The first part highlighted says, some language in the first iteration of D&D presents, hold up, you hyphenated the middle of a word that's not normally hyphenated to force a line carriage when you're not doing, block left right. What century do you think this is? And I say this, just a reminder, I was the lead editor and one of the top writers for a company that even at the time, a million years ago, was worth more than WOTC. By any metric, I outrank the person who wrote this, and wait to see how many hyphens are in this. I'm actually not going to read the whole thing, but this is a train wreck. They start a sentence with the word but for no good reason. They don't split a paragraph when they completely change topics. This is B- C+ level stuff from a multi-billion-dollar company that's doing a 40th anniversary celebration of an entirely written product? Okay then, but spoiler alert, this was also written by someone who was completely deranged and not mentally all there. So, shockingly enough, they're bad at other things in their life too, like writing. And also shockingly enough, if you saw the Q3 Hasbro financial report, they can't afford someone better than this. Evidently, in my opinion. The first part, blah, 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 insensitive, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's casually hurtful to anyone with a physical or mental disability or who happens to be old, fat, non-conventionally attractive, indigenous, black with a capital B for absolutely no reason, or a woman. But that's it. They didn't say etc., others, no, that's it. Those are the only categories, sorry. Yes, I remember the original D&D class that wasn't very popular. That's just the R word. What are they even talking about? Then they go on to say, in the 1970s, historical war gamers in America were predominantly white middle-class men. Citation needed, please prove that. And it isn't surprising that they would dub a class of soldiers the fighting man. Oh, how dare they? Do they know that when you say man or mankind, it's the original Latin roots or Roman or whatever you want to say it, where it refers to both? Did nobody tell that? If I say hombres, I don't mean men, I mean people. And when I say personas in Spanish, I don't mean just women. That's not how any of that ever worked, but okay, yeah, they like to create stuff where it doesn't exist. Then they complain about how the Queen of Chaotic Dragons includes a dig at women's lib, which I don't know what that is. Lit? Did you spell literature wrong? What's a lib? I don't know what a lib is, but I think one of them wrote this. The misogyny is revealed and it's a conscious choice. And then they go on to say, well, cultural appropriation, blah, blah, blah. They're offending 1 billion people. How are you supposed to, why do they call every 6th level cleric a llama? And why are you going to fight Vishnu, one of the principal deities of Hinduism, kill him and loot his +3 sword of demon slaying? I do agree with a little bit of that point because it's a made-up satanic, evil, demonic religion, completely contrary to Christianity, so why would Vishnu have a +3 sword of demon slaying? That's too dangerous to keep around, considering he is one. If you're offended by that, what do I need to say? You already left. I don't care, I tell the truth on this channel, deal with it. But yeah, I could see that as insensitive, where they're just like, haha, we're turning it into a thing, but I don't think they were like, oh, look how stupid this Hindu religion is, let's like make a parody of it. I think they were just like, oh, let's base it on real life because, you know, why not? Like, why create our own thing when we got this thing right here? In this screenshot, they complain more about middle-aged white class men and how that's just the worst thing ever. Just, you know, you could see the fumes coming out of the ears of whatever trigendered pronoun enthusiast wrote this. And then they complain about slavery and its depiction not being shame on you enough in a fantasy world that doesn't exist, by the way. And in contrast to the fact that the number one, by sheer numbers, slave owners were Asian and the number one slave sellers were black. But let's just ignore that. How dare those white males not talk about slavery? I don't know about you, but my family moved here in like 1880. And even more shockingly, I didn't know them personally and feel no connection to them. And I'm not obligated to feel or do anything about anything they did. So shut the hell up. But they wrap this whole thing up with... And we ain't changing crap. We are printing this exactly verbatim because, quote, to do otherwise would be the same as claiming these prejudices never existed. No, I think you didn't have the staff, the time, and the budget to go through all of it and change it, because we all know if you did, you would have. So you could take that forward and shove it up your ass, and I believe Elon felt the same way. Once again, I have never seen him that angry. He gets snippy, he gets sarcastic, but like, this is insane. Like, you took his childhood and kicked it in the nuts. Like, this dude is geekier than I am. He is a gamer at heart. He actually set some kind of world record in like Diablo 4, I guess, like recently. That's kind of weird. Didn't know he had the time. So since literally anything is going on Twitter, absolute manipulative lying reply guy, doxing thief, scumbag, and all-around clout goblin chief of the Clout Gobbling Association, Philippines chapter of course, and final villain of the internet, Ian Miles Chong comes out of his little goblin cave and posts, oh, rip Dungeons and Dragons, blah, 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 you know, just a bunch of insincere clickbait BS. Why Elon allows this piece of human garbage to exist on this platform still blows my mind. I think it's because, in addition to being the clout goblin chief of the internet, he also is the chief ass-kisser of Twitter. So Elon Musk replies, how much is Hasbro? And then Ian, of course, comes out and says a completely incorrect number, because he's uninformed and is just a clout-chasing moron who has no idea what he's talking about. It says 8 to 12 building according to Grok. Okay, nobody cares about Grok, they're wrong. I'd put him at 4 to 5, but that's if I were to personally be looking to buy them in 2025, which I am not. And so Elon literally replies, how much is Hasbro? Nobody knows how serious he is, least of which himself, because the whole Twitter thing, the way I saw it, was he made an offer. Like, first Twitter really pissed him off, but not even to this degree. He wasn't this angry. He was just frustrated with Twitter. So he says, hey, well, it sure would be a shame if I purchased you. And then they're like, oh, do it. So then he comes out with a number, I think it was 69 million, which is way more than they're worth. And then it is their fiduciary duty as a publicly owned, like owned by the stockholders company, that the people running it have to do what is in best interest to the stockholders. And if the company's worth 4 billion, for example, and somebody comes in and says, I'll take it for 5, then the stockholders would make 20%, so, or 25% relative. It's not that clean and tidy, and valuations work a little differently than that, but like, you get it. Like, if somebody makes you a high enough offer that the stockholders are going to get paid, then you have to say yes. Otherwise, you will be arrested by the SEC. Now, when he made the offer, he knew this. Now, they tried to resist it, and then he was just like, no, you have to honor this offer. It's way higher than any kind of estimate. You are worth less than this. And as the second it was entered as a legitimate bid to buy their company and started going through the motions, he goes, hey, wait a minute. I have reason to believe that you misrepresented your user numbers to me and publicly and in past statements, and it's all fake. A bunch of your users are AI or bots, and then they're generating ad views, so your ad sales aren't really as valuable as you thought. Oh, you lied to me, and that was the basis for my valuation of your company and my offer. Wait a minute. Let's go to the courts. I need some discovery on this because you're lying. And then, well, he ended up having to buy it, which I think was crap. But I think his thinking was, well, I'm not going to have to pay that much for it. And I believe he did not pay his initial offer. I'm not 100% sure. They did make him pay too damn much for it, but it was all a bluff. People said like he was just an impulsive idiot and doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, that's usually how millionaires and billionaires operate for 20 plus years, is by being careless and stupid and impulsive and emotional. Yeah, that makes sense. I think he thought, I'm going to buy Twitter for what it's really worth after exposing all their crap. And then if it's lower and I decide it's not low enough and I don't want it, like if it gets down to 12 billion or something, because of it, we find out that they were faking a bunch of their numbers, they were faking the user count, then it's either cheap enough that I buy it, or that's just found out, I withdraw my offer and they go bankrupt, because they were on the verge of bankruptcy anyway. Twitter was not making any money. So he was like, I either make Twitter go away or I get it at a discount. And then neither of those happened, so that's kind of crap. But, well, crooked courts and crooked Democrats, in charge, so what do you expect? So he got dumb bet on that one, but Twitter ain't bankrupt yet, you know what I mean? And then he proceeded to put two complete morons in a row in charge of Twitter, who were just like World Economic Forum shills. Like, you've actually got to be kidding me. And then Trump just put Dr. Oz in some cabinet position or something. Like, if you think these people can do no wrong and that they're batting 1,000, I got news for you. They're very out of touch and very naive some of the time because they're busy doing other things and they're too old and they just aren't up on every little thing that's going on, and they got bad sources for information. Like, for example, Ian Miles Chong, who then tells them 8 to 12 billion. According to Grok, nobody cares about Grok. Everybody knows that if you just wait 3 months, they won't be worth shit. So, their valuation is just not that. In fact, their enterprise valuation is like 11 point something billion. But their total market cap of all their stocks together are like high eights. But that's right now, and that doesn't look at their quarter 3 financials. The only thing I would look at is their quarter 3 financials, but if you look back 5 years, you can see their stock price getting cut in half. So my advice to Elon, I'm sure he subscribes to my channel, is definitely do not buy them until the Q4 reports come out. Now, people are saying he's joking. He didn't have the money to buy Twitter, and he had to go to partners, had them chip in, get some loans, probably liquidate some of his stock in Starlink and SpaceX and Tesla and all that. And he doesn't want to do that because those companies are going up. You don't sell while it's going up. And if you sell off, it triggers other people to sell off because they think something's up, and there goes, billions of dollars. So he didn't really want to pay what they made him pay, but he thought he could get away cheaper or destroy Twitter, and then neither of those happened, like I said. So now it's personal. He's just pissed. I don't think he's trying to do that again with Hasbro. I don't see that happening. But here's all the other factors. Okay, so one, he's trying to start a gaming company. What do you want if you start a brand new gaming company? It's going to be based on AI. Yeah, AI probably should do the voices. You just have a voice actor, pay him way too much. Pay him 10 grand to come do 1 hour voice recordings, and then use AI to extrapolate the rest. You could probably get it tuned pretty darn good. If you say no, AI's not there yet, you haven't done like a dub over inflection clone, which is like the latest crap that just came out. You hear the bad ones. You don't hear the good ones because you don't even know they're AI. And then you tell AI, generate a grass texture, boom, done. You didn't have to pay an artist. You didn't have to wait a month for them to turn it in, for them to model it. It's just there. Yeah, from the ground up, an AI company, I think he's right. That would make so much money. The first person to do it is going to be rich. And I can't believe some of the less moral companies didn't try to take that shortcut like Activision. But they are, and rightfully so, worried about intellectual property and copyright issues with AI-generated stuff. But when pieces make a whole, then you don't poison the well, I guess would be the best way to put that. But this isn't the AI intellectual property podcast here. We're talking about just buying Hasbro. So if he's going to start a new game company, and he's a huge gamer, this dude like OG tabletop D&D nerd, even before he was rich and famous, then he is fuming over what he just found out Hasbro did. And this forward that just craps on Gary Gygax, calling him a racist and everything else. And if you start a brand new gaming company, you go to Star Wars and say, hey, we want to make a Star Wars game, or Lego, we want to make a Lego game. Well, there goes 10, 20, 30% of your profits in royalties. That's a pretty big bone anchor for a very high failure prone industry. But if you just acquire a bunch of IPs, then not only do you get to use them yourself, but you get to license them out to other people. So if he were to buy all of Hasbro, then he would get like, should I even name them? Action Man, Axis and Allies, Clue or Cluedo, Dungeons & Dragons, G.I. Joe, Littlest Pet Shop, Mr. Potato Head, Monopoly, My Little Pony, Nerf, Peppa Pig, Pound Puppies, Power Rangers, Scrabble, Transformers, Jinsai, Kaijudo, Laser Tag, just the term Laser Tag, Magic the Gathering, the entire Energon universe, Duel Masters, Cranium, Micro Machines, Void Rivals. Some of these are bigger than others, obviously, but everything else owned by Allspark, Tonka, Play School, Wizards of the Coast, Avalon Hill, SCG Characters, Entertainment One, Tiger Electronics, Laramie, Cell Show and Richter, Milton Bradley Company, and Parker Brothers. Hello. Kenner Products, Cranium, Waddington's, Galoob, Waredbit. I've never heard of some of these. TSR, Backflip Studios, and Clastra Television. For 8 to 11 billion, which he would never pay, that's pretty good. Did I say Transformers? I feel like I left that one out. Name anybody else who is worth 10 billion or less that has that many different franchises and IPs that is doing poorly and could be for sale. I guess maybe they're competitors. There aren't many. Hasbro is one of the bigger ones. And I mean, you ain't gonna buy Disney, you know what I mean? Like, that's too much money. And a gaming company wouldn't acquire something that big. That wouldn't even make sense. Whoever buys Hasbro, they just found the infinite money glitch, okay? Because they could just, day one, keep licensing all of these properties out to anybody else who wants to put it on a backpack, a shirt, or put it in a game or make a mobile game or whatever. Because, boy, you just... It's like putting up a solar panel and then you just watch, oh, look, money, 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 money. Day one from that acquisition, it starts spitting out money, and then you get to use it yourself for free, and you already get the starting point that's ahead of everybody else, which you aren't starting from zero and hoping, oh, I hope this new thing with these cute little animals takes off that nobody's ever heard of. No, let's just make a G.I. Joe game. Let's just make a My Little Pony game. Or don't. I mean, that Nerf arcade game shooter that's like blowing up right now in all the big arcades? Boom, money, day one. That's Nerf. They're paying for that. Every minute that thing is in operation, they're paying for it. Here's the other factors. Rumor was that WOTC or Hasbro might try to sell off D&D because they damaged it too much. Now, I made a video on this and I still stand by. I don't think that's true. I think that's rumors. It's wishful thinking. It was not from like official inside sources. I think it allegedly was, but come on. There were various reasons that doesn't make sense, and they just hit it out of the park with Baldur's Gate 3. And all they did was just, here's some JPEGs, here's some references, go to town. Yeah, we sign off on it. Okay, give us our 10% of your $1 billion game or whatever. You want to talk about low effort. And I think they legitimately pulled in, I think it was between 60 and 90 million from that for doing nothing. Just, hey, we own this thing. Go do something with it. Cool, now pay us. Almost 100 mil, I believe it was. That's insane. So I felt like D&D was the last thing that ever sell off, but... If your company's drowning, you gotta chuck something off, okay? They just sold off something more valuable and bigger than D&D. So now I'm starting to wonder. So the video production, whatever entertainment company they bought, I forget, it's called something one or who cares. So they acquired it for multiple billions. I want to say between 4 and 10 billion. It was almost the same value as WOTC, as Hasbro. So I don't even know how they pulled that off. They financed it, obviously. And then they did nothing with it. A bunch of movies flopped and they just literally did nothing with it pretty much. And now they sold it off because it was that or bankruptcy. Then they're trying to sugarcoat it for the investors, and the stock just tanks. And then now their 2024 Q3 financial report comes out. And it's a train wreck, and they're already warning people, don't get too optimistic about Christmas. We basically don't even sell physical toys anymore. We got rid of our inventory because it wasn't doing well, because physical toys, nobody buys them anymore, which was their excuse. And they spun it as a positive thing, and then look how efficient we are. We just fired 30% of all of our staff. Woo! And some investors fell for it because they were like, yeah, Monopoly Go and the BG3. You just made, a giant chunk of money with doing no work. That is an attractive prospect, but in general, after the last financial report, their stock dropped, I think, $8, $9, which is 15%. It has since somewhat rebounded, but usually if Elon Musk tweets that he might buy you, the stock goes up a little bit, so he actually just helped them out, unfortunately. But if that fades away, it'll still drop. Now, I don't care what happens in the next month, because as soon as their 2024 Q4 comes out, it's over. It is over. Christmas is going to probably be worse than they thought because nobody buys digital crap on Christmas, and ain't nobody buying each other a Magic the Gathering, gift card for Arena for Christmas. I don't think that even exists. Oh, kids go home and buy digital games and spend on digital gaming because they're off of school. Well, kids don't have enough money to play Arena, so it's pretty much 35-year-old guys. There's nothing positive that's going to come out of the next 2 months. They didn't have a movie. They're all like, ooh, deferment from Transformers movie and blah, 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 blah. No. It's not timing. It's not all this other crap. And keep in mind, now this would actually be an issue for the for acquiring them directly instead of buying up their IPs piecewise, and then they just cease to exist because they're two completely different things. There's a lawsuit. There's a class action lawsuit going on right now for them basically lying about stuff on their report to mislead the people who were stockholders. And it was started by a firemen's association pension thing that invested in them heavily for some reason. So if you buy Hasbro, you are now on the hook for that lawsuit, and that could be really bad. But if that starts proceeding, there's even rumors that there's a settlement or like it starts swinging not their way or they have no good defense, people are going to pull it. They're going to be like, this is an SEC thing. The first thing they're going to do is have to write a check. The second thing is get investigated by the SEC the next day. Because if you lose a lawsuit that you manipulated your stock price and lied to investors, the civil lawsuit, the class action is the last thing you got to worry about. So that could be a huge kick in the nuts, and I think the rumors, just the existence of that proceeding from a lawsuit or a law firm that has 20 years experience in doing nothing but those SEC-related, like securities and exchange, stock-related class action lawsuits, and they win a lot, that's trouble. That scares away stockholders, and then the Christmas quarter, Hasbro's going to be worth $2 billion in 2025 by the summer, in my best estimation. This is not financial advice, but that's just my estimation. They can't afford to drop another $1 billion, so they're going to have to sell something. So he might just buy D&D because that's the number one most valuable thing they own right now, besides, I guess you could say, all of Wizards of the Coast. And then why would Elon want all of Hasbro except to make games in the categories that I just mentioned? But Hasbro wouldn't cost that much more than Wizards of the Coast because at this point, valuation-wise, Wizards of the Coast is, I think, conservatively 1/3 of their business volume. I mean, it depends. Like, do you go assets? Do you go customer goodwill, market share? This is real fishy, but in my opinion, it's closer to above 50%, and they're just making it not look like that, but okay. It's a division. It's not a separate company, so they're not like, here's exactly precisely how much they paid us. They can mishmash it however they want and make it look pretty. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. And so one way or another, if he puts an analyst on this, a business person who really can look beyond the numbers, and if you're going to spend billions of dollars, you're going to look into it a little bit. And it takes time to look into it a little bit. Even if he just made an offhanded comment like, hey, how much do they cost? Ha ha ha. I wonder if I should buy them. Lol, troll. And then 2 months from now, he hears about, whoa, they're doing terrible. They're on the verge of bankruptcy. He might circle back around and be like, hey, wait a minute. So I heard it's 8 to 11 billion. That's out of my price range because trust me, it is. It is right now for him, just period. But now it's worth 2. Now it's worth 3. Now they're looking at selling D&D. Now they're looking for bids to sell all of WOTC. Huh. And I'm starting a gaming company. Wait a minute. They could take MTG Arena back, make it less shit, and almost make up the entire price overnight. And plus, people would just be like, oh, Elon now owns Magic the Gathering's online software. I'm coming back. He could cut the price of gems in half overnight and be like, hey guys, have a welcome to Elon's Arena sale. And also, it's not a sale. We're actually just going to permanently make the gems half the price. And that would attract more than double the players, meaning that it would be a net profit, and then you'd have more players, and you could fix Arena to make double the money. They think being manipulative and greedy and setting, seeing how far they can push the bar is the best way to make money. No. Make it so cheap that everybody wants to play it and make it a beloved property and people won't go anywhere. That is how you make money. If you want to start out as a gaming company, buy a really big game that's doing poorly and being mismanaged, and then fix it. That's the easiest thing you could possibly do. So I think he is very serious about this, and he's one to watch headlines. So all the headlines now are Elon Musk is buying Hasbro. So now if he's like, wait, this is getting around, people are serious about this. Okay, I guess I have to be serious about this, and then who knows what'll happen in the next 6 months. I think he'll own it by the end of 2025. I think he's serious. I really do. And I think he'll seriously get a hell of a deal on it. Because if he pays 11 for it right now, it ain't worth that. That's like paying full price for a boat that you can see the hole in it and water's coming in right now. That's just stupid. So that's it. That's the full breakdown. I wanted to really cover this because I've covered this very extensively in the past. Wanted to give you the full details instead of some little 3-paragraph crap from people who don't know what they're talking about, also known as, the news media right now. And if you appreciate this in-depth analysis of it, leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to check out Into the AM for their Black Friday sale. Woo! I mentioned them in my other video earlier today. I don't like to do 2 ad reads, but I thought, one, nobody's viewing that video for some reason. Guys, I dropped huge money on the most expensive booster pack I've ever opened, and what's inside of it is beyond hilarious. I get the one pull I actually really wanted. It is outrageous, and it's currently my worst viewed video of the last 10. What is going on there? So feel free to go check that out, but also Into the AM, they're having a Black Friday sale. You get shirts for like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bucks with my discount. Extra 10% off, even on clearance and sale items, just saying. So yeah, link in the description. Love you guys for supporting the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.